Imagine this for a moment. The first light of the sun just beginning to warm the air, a gentle sea breeze whispering through the palm trees.
Hmm.
And maybe you can hear the distant rhythm of music drifting from the shore, mingling with the soft sound of waves.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You might even feel the warm sand shifting beneath your toes as you picture it. Doesn't that just sound like stepping into a different, more relaxed state of mind?
It's a powerful sensory image, yeah. It immediately transports you to that seaside escape. Suggests a place where you can shed the everyday and simply be.
Exactly. And that feeling, that potential for escape, is precisely what we're diving into today. We're heading to Port Dickson, or PD, as most people know it.
Ah, PD.
Yeah, a hugely popular beach retreat on the west coast of peninsular Malaysia, tucked away in the state of Negeri Sembilan.
PD has such a long-standing reputation, especially within Malaysia, as the accessible coastal getaway.
Yeah.
Its appeal is rooted in those picturesque beaches and, crucially, its proximity. Being just a relatively short drive from major urban centers makes it the default choice for families.
Oh, sure.
And individuals seeking that quick weekend break without the hassle of long travel. It's the kind of place that's part of the collective memory for many Malaysians.
It's that convenience combined with the coastal charm. But our focus today is even more specific. We're zooming in on a key area that the sources suggest is central to PD's modern identity
Okay.
and its revitalization efforts, the PD Waterfront.
Yes, the material we have really zeroes in on this specific location. One source even uses the evocative phrase paradise by the water to describe it.
Paradise by the water. I like that.
Yeah, it hints at its intended role as a relaxed, enjoyable, and central hub within Port Dickson.
And to piece together the story of PD Waterfront, what it is, what it offers, and what people actually think of it, we've pulled together quite a stack of diverse sources.
What have we got?
Well, we've got articles providing overviews and official perspectives, some research snippets, candid social media posts like TikToks.
Ah, the TikToks. Quick takes.
Exactly, giving quick visual tours and personal takes. Then there are forum discussions offering historical context and public opinions, sometimes quite blunt.
Forums can be like that, yeah. Very direct.
And practical travel guides,
Yeah.
listing attractions and useful tips.
That mix is excellent because it gives us that multi-dimensional view, from the officially promoted vision
Right.
to the ground level reality and historical context captured in more informal spaces.
Absolutely. So our mission in this deep dive is to go through this source stack, unpack the key nuggets of knowledge and insight, and help you, our listener, understand what makes PD Waterfront tick. Is it living up to its paradise by the water billing? What does it uniquely offer? And who might find their perfect seaside escape there? Let's get started by really setting the scene.
Let's do it. Going back to that initial atmosphere, the paradise by the water source really layers on the sensory details. It doesn't just say it's sunny.
No.
It talks about sun-kissed skin. It doesn't just mention the beach. It's about feeling your toes in the water.
Getting specific.
Yeah, there's the visual of golden sunsets, the auditory experience of the sounds of music, and the overarching feeling of being carefree and relaxed.
That source is actively trying to conjure a feeling, isn't it? It's positioning the waterfront as a place designed to let you let go of worries and embrace the moment.
Which is a powerful promise.
It's a powerful promise for any destination, especially one targeting busy city dwellers. It's selling the experience of unwinding.
And that desire for escape isn't new in Port Dickson. Not at all. The Skyscraper City Forum discussions give us this fascinating historical context.
Oh, yeah.
PD wasn't always this modern waterfront hub. It has deep roots as a retreat destination, stretching way back to colonial times.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The forum posters recount how PD was a firm favorite, a go-to spot for people from Kuala Lumpur KLites, they call them,
Right, KLites.
and the British back in the colonial era. There's this detail about wealthy tycoons building elaborate retreat mansions along the beaches during that period.
Wow, mansions.
Yeah, which paints a picture of it initially being a high-end, maybe quite exclusive escape.
Which is a contrast to its later reputation, right? As a more accessible, perhaps sometimes overcrowded spot.
Definitely contrast.
And the very origins of its name tell a different story altogether. It was originally called Tanjung Arang.
Right, Cape of Coal. Not quite the touristy vibe.
Not at all. That name suggests its initial significance was tied to natural resources, referencing a nearby coal mine. It wasn't initially about tourism or even being a significant port.
So how did it become Port Dickson?
Well, the transformation began when it was renamed Port Dickson, reportedly after a British high officer, Sir John Frederick Dickson.
The colonial connection.
Exactly. And this change wasn't just symbolic, it marked a shift in its function. It was developed into a seaport,
Okay.
which in turn caused the small town to grow into a bustling trading center. So its identity evolved from a resource site to a port, and then, its natural beauty increasingly positioned it as a tourist destination.
It's a town with multiple past lives, but the sources, particularly those forum discussions, are quite candid about challenges faced along the way, especially as tourism scaled up.
Yes, there's a very direct comment in the forum, a specific observation that the insurgence of tourists in the 80s had made Port Dickson dirty.
Oof. Dirty.
Yeah, and this wasn't just minor litter. The implication is that a rapid increase in visitors, maybe coupled with insufficient infrastructure or environmental management, had a significant negative impact, reportedly making the sea unswimmable for a time.
That's a tough assessment. And it highlights why the period that followed was so necessary. The forum mentions that in the decade leading up to their posts in the early 2010s, the government had been painstakingly restoring PD to its former glory. The word painstakingly really suggests it was a difficult, sustained effort.
It does, painstakingly. To reverse the damage and bring back the appeal.
It wasn't an overnight fix then.
No, it implies a long-term commitment to environmental cleanup and infrastructure improvement. And it seems that effort was starting to pay off, at least according to those forum users.
How so?
The same forum posts note an uptrend in city folks buying up beachfronting residentials there in the past few years relative to when they were writing.
Ah, okay. So renewed interest.
Exactly. It suggests renewed confidence in PD as a desirable place to own property and spend time, indicating a recovery in its perception.
And this brings us back to the PD Waterfront, because the sources position this project as absolutely central to that ongoing revival.
Yeah, the NST article specifically mentions the master developer, TSR Capital BHD, and their partner, Globe Venture. They state their goal is to rejuvenate Port Dickson.
Rejuvenate. Big word.
And transform it into a world-class tourism destination and a prominent holiday retreat hub.
World-class. That's a bold statement.
It is, and they weren't shy about their inspirations. They specifically mentioned being inspired by waterfront developments like the Aker Bridge waterfront in Oslo, Norway.
Oslo. Interesting comparison. What's that like?
Well, Aker Bridge is known for transforming a former industrial area into this really vibrant hub. Restaurants, shops, cultural spaces, residential, offices, all integrated with great public access and views of the fjord.
Okay.
So referencing this suggests the PD Waterfront aims for a similar level of, urban integration, quality, and destination appeal.
That comparison really elevates the perceived ambition, and the scale matches that ambition.
Oh, definitely. The sources note the waterfront project covers a significant area, 24.2 hectares.
24.2 hectares. How big is that roughly?
The hectare is about 2.47 acres, so we're talking over 59 acres of development right on the water's edge. It's a substantial footprint.
59 acres. Wow.
And it's backed by a considerable investment with a gross development value, or GDV, of RM2.3 billion.
Okay, explain GDV quickly.
GDV is essentially the estimated total value of all the properties and developments within a project once it's completed and sold.
Gotcha.
So RM2.3 billion represents the projected total revenue and value generated by this massive undertaking. This isn't just adding a few shops, it's a transformative project from a financial perspective as well.
2.3 billion. And it's not happening in isolation, is it?
No, the project is part of the larger Malaysia Vision Valley, or MVV initiative.
Right, MVV.
This is a major economic development corridor aimed at attracting investment, boosting economic growth, and creating opportunities in the state of Negeri Sembilan. So the PD Waterfront is really positioned as a cornerstone of a broader regional strategy.
It's clearly intended to be a catalyst then, attracting visitors, investment, elevating Port Dickson's profile, not just locally, but hopefully internationally as well.
Fulfilling that vision of becoming a world-class tourism destination.
And central to achieving that is making it a place where everything is conveniently located. The sources really highlight PD Waterfront's role as a central hub. One description calls it a one-stop outlet for all purposes.
That phrase is key. It suggests the convenience factor is a major selling point. They've concentrated a variety of facilities in one location.
To minimize hassle.
Exactly, to minimize the need to travel elsewhere once you're there.
Right. And the list of facilities mentioned is quite comprehensive. Accommodation, bars, cafes, banks, and various amusements.
It reads like they're trying to gather the essentials and the leisure activities all together.
The idea, as the sources frame it, is that whether your immediate need is practical, maybe you need cash from a bank or groceries,
Uh-huh.
or purely for leisure relaxing with a meal by the sea, meeting friends for a drink, or finding some entertainment, you can supposedly do it all right there at the waterfront itself.
It centralizes convenience and leisure. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And to ensure it remains a vibrant destination, the sources emphasize that the waterfront is designed to be active year-round. They talk about hosting many events, competitions, and festivals.
This programming is vital, isn't it, for maintaining interest and drawing repeat visitors.
Totally.
The events source provides concrete examples showing the range, everything from a major public event like the New Year's Eve countdown for 2024
Right.
to more niche attractions like a fishing competition way back in 2014 or family entertainment like a fun fair, also 2014.
And looking ahead, the sources show that upcoming events are tied to major new attractions, like the official opening of the PD Waterfront Carnival and the Pink Sand Beach.
Ah, the Pink Sand Beach again.
Yeah, planned for the early 2025 school holidays, including a big cultural celebration like the Chapco Me event, officiated by the state's tourism minister.
Using events to mark milestones and draw attention to new features is a smart strategy. It highlights how the waterfront isn't static, it's an evolving place.
New reasons to visit popping up.
Exactly.
And speaking of reasons to visit, let's talk about one of the most compelling ones mentioned in the sources, especially for many travelers.
Food.
Ah, yes, food. Always important.
The PD Waterfront and the surrounding area are certainly presented as a food lover's paradise.
Well, the travel guide hints at this with the phrase, vibrant selection of surrounding foodie outlets. And Negeri Sembilan, the state itself, has a strong culinary identity.
Right, known for rich, spicy dishes, often using coconut milk and chili padi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the sources specifically highlight some of these local delicacies you might find. There's masak lemak sili api,
Okay, what's that like?
typically fish or meat cooked in this rich gravy made with coconut milk and a fiery blend of chilies and spices. Think creamy, fragrant curry, but with a significant spicy kick.
Sounds good. Spicy, though.
Definitely can be. And then there's rendang sili padi. This is a slow-cooked meat dish, drier than masak lemak, but incredibly intense in flavor.
Rendang, classic. Yeah, using coconut milk, spices, and of course, plenty of chili padi for that signature heat. The slow cooking breaks down the meat and concentrates the flavors into something really deep and satisfying.
My mouth is watering already.
Uh-huh.
Does the guide mention specific places?
It does, yeah. It names specific local eateries where you might seek out these authentic flavors, like Warung Selai Port Dickson and Warung Mak Manasi Ayam.
Oh, that's helpful. Names to look out for.
It is helpful if you're on the ground looking for that genuine local taste. But being a coastal location, fresh seafood is naturally a major draw, too.
Of course.
No, the travel guide shows it's not just local Malayan seafood. There are international options, too, like Chinese food at Restaurant Milazat Mianju
Okay.
and Mexican food at El Cactus Bistro and Bar.
Mexican and PD. Interesting mix.
That range is important. It indicates they are catering to a wide palate, acknowledging that not everyone is there just for the local food. And this is further underlined by the presence of easily recognizable chain outlets.
Ah, the big names. Where are they?
Mentioned in the forum discussions, located right at or very near the waterfront.
Like,
We're talking McDonald's, Starbucks specifically noted as having a drive-thru next to McDonald's,
convenient.
KFC, also with the drive-thru mentioned. Major fast food and coffee chains provides familiar, accessible options for quick bites, coffee fixes, or catering to picky eaters. It adds another layer to that one-stop outlet convenience. Ensures there's something for almost everyone.
There's also a newer spot, highlighted in one of the YouTube sources, called The Cove.
The Cove, yeah. Opened in 2023 near the waterfront. Described as a cool spot with delicious food.
Did they mention anything specific they liked?
Yeah, the specific call-out in the video was for a duck dish they had, described as delicious. And they also noted the service was quick. So a positive personal dining experience there.
Good to know. Anything else about the vibe there?
What's interesting is their further observation about the general music vibe they encountered at the waterfront restaurants, not just the Cove.
Yeah.
They described it as very crazy, strange type of music, like techno, hard house, or trance.
Really? Techno at the waterfront?
Yeah, and they felt it created a weird vibe, particularly when combined with fewer people around.
That's a fascinating detail. It suggests the atmosphere, even at the restaurants, can be quite distinct and perhaps even a little unexpected depending on the time. Paints a picture of the waterfront having different moods.
It adds a layer of texture to the experience beyond just the food itself. And looking to the future, the TikTok sources tease some exciting upcoming food attractions.
Oh yeah, like what?
Specifically the all-new luxury glass houses at PD Waterfront.
Glass houses. Okay, tell me more.
These are presented with AI concept visuals, promising a modern, elegant glass house-style cafe and restaurant opening soon. The described atmosphere sounds very appealing, bathed in natural light, surrounded by refreshing greenery.
Sounds nice. Very Instagrammable, I bet.
Exactly. It's being framed as a place that's perfect for relaxing, dining, and yes, taking photos. The offering sounds like it leans towards a premium experience,
Right.
with mentions of artisan coffee and dishes made with fresh local ingredients. It's being marketed as more than just an eatery. The TikToks call it a lifestyle destination.
A lifestyle destination. High aims.
They're presenting it as the future of staycations and Port Dickson's latest gem.
That's high praise and clearly positions this upcoming venue as a major draw. Suggests the waterfront is aiming to add more sophisticated, trendy options to its mix.
Seems so. And let's not forget the more traditional side of the food scene. The travel guide mentions the night market in Port Dickson town.
Ah, the night market. Always a good find.
Yeah, happens every first Saturday of the month, offering a chance to sample cheap local delicacies in a classic street food setting.
Perfect. So really, a bit of everything on the food front.
From local classics and fresh seafood to international flavors, major chains, trendy new spots, and upcoming luxury concepts, plus the buzz of a night market. The food scene at or accessible from PD Waterfront appears incredibly diverse.
Aiming to satisfy a wide range of preferences and budgets. Makes sense for a major hub.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving from food to a truly unique attraction highlighted across multiple sources. The Pink Sand Beach.
Yes, the Pink Sand Beach. This feature is clearly intended to be a major draw, specifically located at PD Waterfront. The descriptions are emphatic, unique, and Instagrammable.
You see Instagrammable a lot with this one.
You do. And the Door TikTok even claimed it's the first of its kind in Malaysia, while the event source went further, proclaiming it Malaysia's largest pink sand beach.
First of its kind, largest. Those are designed to be marketing hooks, aren't they? Create immediate curiosity and a sense of novelty.
Definitely. And the YouTube source really captures the emotional impact. The person in the video sounds genuinely amazed.
What did they say?
Things like, I have never seen anything like this before in the world. And a simple, heartfelt pink sand. Wow. They described it as feeling like a little fairy tale.
Wow. A fairy tale. That's quite the reaction.
That emotional response is powerful validation for a unique attraction like this. It taps into a sense of wonder and visual appeal.
Which is gold for social media.
Exactly. Gold for destinations in the age of social media. It's inherently Instagrammable, as the sources note.
And it's received official backing, right? It wasn't just a random thing.
No, the event source confirms that the PD Waterfront Carnival featuring this pink sand beach was set for an official opening during the school holidays in early 2025.
Okay.
This included a Grand Chap Gomez celebration on February 12, 2025, officiated by Negeri Sembilan's tourism minister, and notably included the first ever pink sand beach Mandarin orange tossing event.
Wow, a specific event for it, too.
Yeah.
Mandarin orange tossing on pink sand.
Linking the launch to significant cultural events and involving high-profile officials demonstrates a serious commitment to promoting this feature. It's also being actively marketed in travel packages.
Like those staycation deals.
Yeah, like the May-June 2025 school holiday staycation deals mentioned in the TikToks.
Okay, so in terms of the actual visitor experience, what's it like?
Well, the sources reiterate it's perfect for relaxing and taking photos, which aligns perfectly with its visual nature.
Right, but practicalities. Is there an entry fee? Opening times?
The YouTube source provides some practical ground-level details from their visit. They mentioned paying an entry fee of 5 ringgit per person.
5 ringgit. Okay, not too bad.
Which suggests it's a managed area, possibly part of an adjacent fun park or a controlled access point. They also infer an opening time around 5:00 p.m. based on a staff interaction.
5 p.m., so more of an evening thing.
Possibly, or maybe that was just when they were there. It indicates it might be more of an afternoon-evening attraction.
And the TikToks added something about hotel key cards.
Yes, that was interesting. They mentioned that for a specific contest, the Pink Moments with Mom contest, you needed permission and to show a dwarf hotel key card to access the pink sand beach.
Ah, so access might sometimes be linked to hotel stays or promotions.
It suggests that possibility, yeah. Adding a potential layer of exclusivity or controlled access beyond just the standard entry fee at certain times or for certain events.
These details are important because they give a clearer picture of what to expect when you visit. Now, here's where we also see some of those varied perspectives coming into play, even about this key attraction.
How so?
While the promotional material paints a picture of a bustling, unique spot, the YouTube source noted it seems quite deserted upon their visit.
Oh, really?
Deserted.
Yeah, that's what they said. They found it unexpectedly empty, which made them wonder. But then they were told by a local person there that it is busy on weekends.
Ah, the classic weekday versus weekend difference.
Exactly. And this highlights a crucial insight. Visitor experience can vary dramatically depending on timing.
Makes sense. A weekday visit might offer that tranquil, maybe even slightly surreal, fairy tale feeling of having the pink sand almost to yourself, perfect for photos.
Right. While a weekend visit might be a completely different, bustling experience, full of families and activity, aligning more with the carnival atmosphere.
Neither observation is necessarily wrong. They likely just represent different realities of the same place at different times.
That's a great point. The sources give us multiple angles on the same feature. So while the pink sand beach is a definite standout, what other activities and entertainment does PD Waterfront and the wider PD area offer, according to the sources?
Well, at the waterfront itself, the attraction source broadly mentions amusements.
Amusements, a bit vague.
It is, but the YouTube source, after paying their 5 ringgit, seemed to be exploring what they called a deserted playground/theme park near the pink sand beach.
Okay, so maybe some rides or games.
It suggests there are potentially open-air, fun park attractions available, perhaps geared towards children or casual entertainment, possibly the area linked to that entry fee they paid.
And sometimes the simplest activities are the most appealing. Just strolling.
Exactly. The Paradise by the Water source implies that evening strolls along the waterfront promenade and simply walking on the sand are enjoyable experiences, part of that relaxed atmosphere.
Nice. What about getting out things not on the beach?
Beyond the immediate coast, the PD Ostrich Farm near Purnama Beach, detailed in the travel guide and the YouTube source, offers a more unique kind of interactive experience focused on animals.
Ostriches.
Yeah.
In PD.
Apparently so. And this isn't just a viewing farm. The sources highlight getting up close with ostriches, taking photos,
Okay.
and even the intriguing possibility of racing them.
Racing ostriches. Seriously.
That's what one source suggests. There's also a detailed description of the interactive feeding experience. For 10 ringgit, you can buy feed.
Right.
And the sources specify there are different types for different animals, including specific instructions like needing to feed the fast-eating goats one by one to avoid chaos.
Uh-huh. Gotta watch out for the goats.
Seems so. You can also feed guinea pigs and roosters in a petting zoo section with domestic pets and other farm animals.
Sounds quite hands-on.
Yeah, and the YouTube video provides a personal account of this. Again, noting an initial impression of the farm feeling deserted.
But busy on weekends, presumably.
Exactly. Told by staff it's busy on weekends, another instance where visitor traffic varies. They also received a voucher for a free chocolate tour at a nearby Ben's chocolate factory.
Oh, a chocolate tour bonus.
Nice. Suggests potential cross-promotions or nearby attractions to bundle, and the Ostrich Farm seems to be expanding its offering too.
Ow.
The travel guide also mentions extreme sports like paintball and archery being available there now.
Ostriches, paintball, and archery. Quite the combo.
It certainly is diverse. For those interested in visual arts and more unique photo opportunities beyond the pink sand,
Yes.
PD has several art galleries. The sources mention the Alive 3D Art Gallery and the Upside Down Art Gallery.
Ah, the trick art places.
Exactly. Described as trick art museums, featuring interesting and mind-blowing optical illusions designed for interactive photos.
Fun for families, I bet. Any location info?
The forum specifically helps locate the Alive 3D Art Gallery by mentioning its near landmarks like Giant Lukert and Old Town Coffee Lukert.
Handy reference points. What about nature or history buffs?
For them, Cape Brachado, or Tanjung Tuan, is highlighted. It's a gazetted forest reserve offering jungle trekking and bird-watching opportunities.
Okay, bit of greenery.
And it's historically significant, too. It houses the oldest lighthouse in Malaysia, built by the Portuguese.
The oldest lighthouse.
Yeah. And within this reserve are beaches like Blue Lagoon and Sermon Beach.
Blue Lagoon sounds nice.
It does, although it's worth noting, the forum discussions presented differing views on its state. One post described it as clean and clear,
Good.
while
Area offer a really broad spectrum of activities then.
absolutely. From unique beaches and historical sites to interactive farms, art illusions, water sports, and conservation efforts, they're definitely trying to cater to diverse interests.
Suggesting there's more to PD than just lying on the sand.
Although that's certainly an option too.
Of course. Okay, speaking of options, let's talk accommodation. Where might you stay if you decide to explore PD Waterfront? The sources highlight options both directly connected to the waterfront and elsewhere in PD.
Dwarf Hotel PD Waterfront is a prominent one, heavily featured in those TikToks.
Right, the one with the keycard access sometimes.
Possibly, yeah. It's promoted for key features like perfect sea views, direct access to the unique pink sand beach, and being suitable for different traveler types, whether it's family fun, a romantic escape, or even solo serenity.
The TikToks really lean into its strategic location and direct access, presenting it as a highly convenient base right in the heart of the action.
They do. They also highlight staycation deals offered by the hotel, suggesting it's actively trying to attract local visitors.
Okay, so that's right at the waterfront.
There are resorts with pools and activities, the fun park potential, interactive experiences like the Ostrich Farm, and those child-friendly chain restaurants.
Makes sense. Couples.
Couples might find the sea view accommodations appealing, the idea of romantic strolls, the pink sand beach, and the promise of stylish new dining spots like those glass houses.
Solo explorers.
They might be drawn to the uniqueness of the pink sand beach for quiet reflection and photos, the hiking in nature at Cape Rachado, or perhaps seeking out specific local food experiences.
And food lovers, obviously.
And clearly, food lovers are a major target, given the sheer variety available from local spice and seafood to international options and familiar brands.
It's attempting to cater to diverse needs and interests, positioning itself as a destination with multiple facets.
Definitely. Now, for those thinking about visiting, the practicalities, how do you actually get there?
Okay, yeah. Logistics. The travel guide provides the key info. The most recommended way to reach Port Dickson is by car or bus.
Driving from KL.
If you're driving from Kuala Lumpur, it's relatively straightforward. It takes about 1 hour and 30 minutes via the North-South Expressway, the NSE, and then the dedicated Seremban PD highway. Pretty easy drive.
And by bus?
If traveling by bus, the standard route involves taking a bus to the nearby city of Seremban first, and then transferring
To
other local bus, or taking a taxi from Seremban to PD, which adds about another hour to the journey. The guide notes there's currently no direct train service to PD.
No train. Good to know. What about international arrivals?
For international visitors, the guide mentions sea access via a daily ferry service connecting Port Dickson to Dumai in Sumatra, Indonesia,
Okay, ferry from Indonesia.
and air access by flying into Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA, or KLIA-2, and then following that bus route via Seremban.
Gotcha. Once you're in PD, how do you get around?
Getting around is fairly simple if you have a car, as most attractions are connected by road. Otherwise, taxis or ride-sharing services like Grab are available for getting between different points of interest.
Okay, standard stuff. And in terms of timing, the best time to visit? Weather-wise.
Well, the weather in Malaysia is generally hot and humid throughout the year, meaning you can visit any time, really.
But are there better times than others?
The travel guide provides specifics. The driest months, which might be preferable for beach activities with less chance of rain, are generally from May to August.
Okay, May to August for drier weather, wet season.
The wettest period is from October to December due to the northeast monsoon. Peak tourist season is noted as March and April.
Peak season, March and April, so maybe more crowds then.
Potentially more crowds, but also possibly more events or a livelier atmosphere. Depends what you're looking for.
Useful distinctions for planning, and practical tips on what to pack or wear, besides the obvious beach stuff.
Standard beach destination advice applies.
Huh?
Sunblock and appropriate beachwear for the sand and sea are essential. Carrying drinking water is important due to the heat and humidity.
Right. Clothing.
Generally, comfortable, loose clothing and footwear are best for exploring the town and other attractions.
And any cultural considerations. Dress code.
The guide includes a note on this. While PD is a popular tourist spot, Malaysia is a predominantly Muslim country, so it's generally advisable to dress more conservatively when visiting places like towns, markets, or restaurants away from the beach.
Okay, common sense respect. What about on the beach itself?
Swimwear and bikinis are acceptable on the beaches themselves.
Wow.
Just no naked or topless sunbathing, the guide specifies.
Simple, respectful guidelines for navigating the local culture. Now, we've touched upon this throughout, but it's worth explicitly highlighting the different, sometimes contrasting perspectives found within the sources.
Yeah, this is important because it stops us from just presenting a single polished view. We have the highly positive, almost aspirational language from the promotional TikToks and official event announcements.
The paradise by the water narrative.
Exactly, framing PD Waterfront as a thriving hub, a paradise, home to that unique, first-of-its-kind, pink sand beach.
Then you have the more critical or grounded views from the Skyscraper City Forum discussions,
Right.
discussing historical issues like littering and the need for government intervention to make the sea clean again, or noting older developments that were perceived as starting to fall apart and those varying accounts of beach conditions like the Blue Lagoon.
And the YouTube source offers perhaps the most candid personal observations, encountering areas that felt like a ghost town.
The deserted feeling.
Or noticing unfinished buildings, the specific anecdote about perceived rudeness at one restaurant, that weird vibe from the music,
No music, yeah.
and their speculation about potential reasons for lower visitor numbers, like the military presence or the oil refinery nearby.
It's crucial to understand that our role here is to present these different viewpoints impartially as they appear in the sources. We're not verifying the claims or endorsing opinions,
Not at all.
but showing the range of experiences and perceptions out there. This blend of promotional vision, historical context, personal observations, and critical commentary gives us a much richer, if more complex, understanding of Port Dickson and the PD Waterfront.
It shows us a destination that is actively striving to reinvent itself, investing significantly in new attractions and infrastructure, building on its history as a favored retreat, but also a place where the process of revitalization is ongoing, and visitor experiences can vary, depending on timing, expectations, and specific locations within the broader area.
It's a dynamic picture, not a static postcard. And it suggests that a visit might involve encountering both the polished, unique highlights and some of the realities of a town in transition.
So to wrap up our deep dive into the sources on PD Waterfront, Port Dickson, where does that leave us?
Based on what the sources tell us, it is undeniably a destination aiming to be a central hub where food, fun, and relaxation are readily available by the sea.
That one-stop outlet idea.
Yeah. It features genuinely unique attractions like the Pink Sand Beach, offers a very diverse food scene from local street food to international chains and upcoming luxury concepts, and provides access to a wide array of activities across the wider PD area, from interactive animal encounters to nature trails and conservation centers.
It's framed as a key part of Port Dickson's journey, isn't it? To regain its status as a prominent, even world-class holiday retreat.
Building on its historical popularity while adding modern amenities and unique selling points.
And while acknowledging the varied perspectives in the ongoing development.
Right. Acknowledging that complexity, the sheer concentration of offerings at the waterfront, and the diversity of experiences available nearby position it as a potentially appealing destination for a broad range of travelers, from families to foodies to solo explorers.
So maybe it's time to consider planning your own getaway to PD Waterfront, Port Dickson, to see this evolving destination for yourself. Will you find that vibrant, bustling hub full of events?
Whoa.
Or will you discover a quiet, fairy tale moment on the pink sand beach? Or perhaps a mix of everything the sources describe?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. We've explored how PD Waterfront is presented as a place of undeniable beauty, unique features, and ambitious new developments. Yet the sources also reveal quieter moments, ongoing challenges, and varied personal experiences.
That mix we talked about.
Exactly. What does this complex blend of revitalization, unique attractions, and lingering realities tell us about the journey of a classic holiday spot striving to become a world-class destination once again? And perhaps does this very mix offer the potential for you to find your own perfect, maybe unexpected slice of paradise there, depending on what you're looking for and when you visit? Something to think about.